morning. My name is Mike Anderson. I'm with the Skeetson Indian Band out of Savannah, British Columbia, which is in the south central interior, desert country, a little different than here. I've lived within Skeetson territory all my life, out in the bush basically. And I am a registered professional forester, registered professional biologist, and that's the capacity I came to Skeetson in about 25 or 30 years ago. I ran their natural resource department for many years. We're involved in forestry, but part of forestry is what do we do with the trees once we've taken them out of the bush? How do we take them out of the bush? And, with harming the bush as little as possible, but what do we do with them once we take them out of the bush? And years ago we had access to a lot of timber because a lot of timber died, and it was kind of, what do we do with this? And I'll show a video here, kind of give you an idea how we got started doing what we're doing, building Dodeca homes. That way I don't have to speak too much. Maybe get the lights dimmed on this if we can, Judah.
Skeetson Indian Band is a rural First Nations community that has been living in the dry southern interior of BC around Savannah for millennia. Much of this Skeetson economy is always centered around the forest and forestry, from building of the original pit homes to modern day harvesting and the use and other uses of their forest, and now value-added production. One of the first instigators of change around here was a pine beetle epidemic that happened to our forests in 1998. Early 2000s, there were about 30 to 35% of our forests that got attacked by pine beetle and died. Climate change has also increased fires. We've had some major fires here in the last 5 years, so over 55% of our forest has now been burned. We had to find ways to use these damaged trees. We still have to find ways to use these damaged trees, and part of that has been in the development of our Dodeca homes to utilize and these trees as timbers in a timbered structure. There's a current housing crisis nationally, especially on reserves. And as our population grows, more homes are needed on this reserve as well. So in the very early years of my employment here, Chief and Council came to me with a problem. They needed an arbor constructed very fast. We also had other problems on reserve. We had a lot of young people that were unemployed. We had a whole pile of dead wood within our forest from the pine beetle, and we also had a lack of housing. This inspired me to look at what could we do to put these young people to work.
Hello, my name is Sheldon Mills. I'm from the Skeetson Indian Band. I work for the Natural Resource Department. I was on the project for the first round building. I worked on log building, started on the harbor, and these carpentry skills are really handy to have because we do artwork in regular field season, and we get about 3.5 months off. So it's a great opportunity to be working full-time year-round because most of my other co-workers and stuff get laid off from other bands. But our band keeps us working full year.
So I realized then that building log structures was a way of utilizing our resources and also building character and building confidence within our young people. Hence, we started looking at the traditional pit home and designed it so that it came into the modern, as I say, came into the modern day, so that it's now above ground, it's now insulated rather than dirt. It's insulated with structurally insulated panels. It still has the timber frame that the initial pit homes had, only they had raw logs, and we were using squared timbers. In the early years of our program, our value-added program, we started log building. But log building takes an individual laying of every single log. It takes a high degree of skills, and I realized that we had a lot of unskilled youth that probably weren't going to attain those skills. So we wanted to build something that was a little simpler. That's why we went to a squared timbered building, which is quite a bit simpler. It takes less finesse to put together.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Anderson. I'm the founder of Dodeca Homes.
I've lived in Skeetcheson's territory all my life. I came to work for Skeetcheson a little over 25 years ago. So Rebecca Homes is a project I've been working on for about the last 20 years off this corner of my desk, because I've also been employed as a natural resource manager. And we've now come up with a relatively simply designed, affordable, durable, energy efficient, and culturally appropriate modular home that we now want to scale up and descend into other markets. We have three models or modules that we've been working on. One is 520 square feet, one's 1020, and we're working on a 1,400 square foot one. In the past, we put some of these together. By buttoning them together, we have offices that are 4,400 square feet. And how we've done that is to butt and 4 modules together. They're all very easily accessible. They're all slab on grade or on grade, so that they have wide doors and door frames, and are pretty good for wheelchairs or disabled people or elders.
Skeetchesson and Rebecca Homes are the leaders in traditional and culturally healthy home design. We will provide not just adequate but exceptional housing for better quality of life for First Nations communities.
Yeah, Dennis Simon from SNRC. These are round houses compared to residential homes, which are square. And I find these round houses a little bit more easier to build, faster to build than a residential home. I find them more warmer once you get them put together with these new SIPs that they developed.
Hi, I'm Jane Britton. I am the Director of Sales and Marketing for Skeetchesson and Rebecca Homes. I just want to talk about how I see value in an opportunity like this for my community. I worked for Skeetchesson Natural Resources about 15 years ago as a receptionist, and so coming back in the last year to see the growth of how the Natural Resource Department has become a corporation and now has nearly 40 staff members has made me very proud. They definitely took a chance on bringing me back to get this project off the ground, and this funding has given the support needed to grow this project into what it's becoming.
And you get to learn all different multiple skills, how to use a skill saw, you know, how to drywall, how to put up a skylight. There's all sorts of different things to learn how to put these round houses together, and which I think is very good for our community and other communities.
Good morning. My name is Tyler Hewitt, currently employed with Skeetchesson Natural Resources, and we have been creating Dodeca home systems. One benefit to working here close to home is I get to spend a lot of time with my 2 little girls, aged 3 and 1. Working 7 to 3, it takes about 5-10 minutes to get home at the end of the day. You can pick them up from school.
I believe one of the major benefits of our business plan is that we want to share this information and share this design with other communities. By training individuals from other communities how to erect this, they can then they can go home, and we will sell them the kits, and then they can erect the kits within their home communities, thus creating their own local economy. One of the other benefits of our program to date is that 5 years ago, a neighboring band, the Ashcraft Indian Band, basically had their homes wiped out by the Elephant Hill Fire, and we donated one of these buildings to them and get their community started up and running again. We now have a similar situation over to the east of us in the Shuswap, where the little Shuswap Indian Band has lost 38 homes, and we are in the process of donating one of these buildings to them as an elder center.
The funding would allow Skeetchesson and Rebecca Homes to increase their presence in all areas, improve social media presence, engagement opportunities through trade shows and marketing events, networking opportunities which will connect us with partners, suppliers and communities, and skilled workers who can join our team and further improve our product and our capabilities.
We hope to be successful in this challenge because we think that we've come up with a solution to a lot of housing problems, not just for First Nations, but for remote and rural communities across Canada, and we hope to broaden our reach as far as we can and get this out to as many areas of Canada as possible.
So That was a video we put together to get some CMHC funded that has allowed us the affordability to be able to come here and go to a number of home shows to try and get our message out there, get our product out there. So Skeeterson Dodeca Homes is an indigenous business, 100% band owned. Offers a kit building system based on traditional building concepts utilized by the Secwepemc First Nations who reside in Skeeterson, southern interior BC, as I said. I'll probably repeat myself a few times here if you'll bear with me. The modern modified version is a unique 12-sided post and beam building structure that's engineered in several basic modules that are affordable, energy efficient, quick, and ready to assemble for climate conscious homeowners. Our goal is to create spaces that honor Indigenous culture and values while also meeting the needs of contemporary families in terms of comfort, functionality, and sustainability. I guess one of our main goals is to get us to the First Nations kind of, in fact, just a minute, the subject of my speech was building for the future. I wasn't ready to come and speak here, actually. I thought I was going to sit on a panel, just answer questions. So I wasn't quite prepared for this, but my staff said that my speech would be about building for the future. So part of the future we see is First Nations taking back control of their own housing needs. There's like over 55,000 houses needed on reserves across Canada, new houses. There's an awful lot of older houses that were built by outside contractors. They're basically junk that need replacing and need fixing. It's time for us to take back control of our own needs and our own programs, and I think we can do that. The other thing about building for the future is where I live, we've had some catastrophic weather events, and we've had major forest fires. In 2021, we had a heat dome. The temperature was 45 degrees for about 10 days. Started frying everything up and exacerbated the fires. After that, we also had floods. So these are the things that are going to happen in the future. We see that coming. They're happening more and more over time. So we want to try to start managing and building in anticipation of that. We manage the lands as First Nations for 7 generations. That's what I was taught when I came to Skeeterson, is we do management for 7 generations. Well, part of that is we want to build for 7 generations. And a lot of the housing that's been built to date has not been for 7 generations. It's been for 2 or 3. But we think the First Nations can build their own homes for 7 generations if they do it properly. We started building out of dead pine because that's what we had. We had forest licenses that had an awful lot of beetle-killed pine, and it was kind of like, what do we do with this other than make chips and 2x4s and sell for next to nothing? So we came up with a product where we could get an awful lot more out of that dead wood. Since then, we've run out of dead pine, but we've had a lot of forest fires, so now we have a lot of dead fir. So we basically build out a Douglas fir, an interior dry belt Douglas fir. We have sustainably managed to selectively log our forests for a number of years. I've done selection logging in Douglas fir for over 50 years. In some places we're going into the second or third entry into the stand, and we still have a standing forest. We don't have a clear-cut moonscape. The other thing is, I think we need to, as Secwepemc, the guys I work for, I'm not Secwepemc, but the guys I work for, they believe that they're related to the trees. They're our relatives. And we have to have respect. If we take anything off the land, off the Tanuke, we have to have respect for that. Part of having respect for that, we see, is our respect for Douglas firs is utilizing it for long periods of time and making a high-end product rather than just paper or something that only lasts a year or 2. If we're going to take that life, we have to utilize it properly. We've also come up with what we feel is a flexible building system that can be added to. And we also, if you get old kind of thing, you got family coming up and you need extra room, we can add another module onto the first module. You can have an elders section to your housing unit right beside your main housing unit. So we have engineered blueprints and floor plan options. We're still working on that. We have blueprints for a 600 square foot module, a 1,040 square foot, and a 1,490 square foot option. We've also got blueprints for a 2-story 600 square foot option. We've built a number of 1,040 square foot buildings on top of basements, and we also we've got one built that's a 2-story option as well. In our 1,040 square foot options, we're presently, we have up to 3 bedrooms, and the bedrooms are not crowded. They're not like in a little single wide trailer or something like that. I've lived in one of those and things are pretty crowded. These buildings aren't that crowded. We will be coming up with our CMHC funding. We are able to do an awful lot of this. We will be coming up with a bilingual instruction manual. We are developing a YouTube instruction video. And we feel that these buildings can not only be used as housing, but used as community centers, offices, etc. And you saw in one picture there, we have office structures. We've sold one as a meditation center to some monks. We've got one as a concession stand on our rodeo ground. So they're very versatile buildings. The other thing we want to build is we want to build community capacity. We want to give our youth and our community members transferable skills. This project started with the need for an arbor at Skeeterson. We had a youth, we had boys kicking around the reserve, 17 to 25 kind of thing, kind of lost at wit's end, not knowing what to do. We had logs up the mountain. We had a small cutting permit that we were at the time horse logging. So we horse logged those logs and skidded them down to where we built our arbor, and 6 or 7 youth and 1 skilled carpenter to lead them basically built a 12,000 square foot arbor all by themselves. It not only built the arbor that we needed, it built self-reliance, it built skills within those youth, it built pride within them. I can talk to guys these days that built that arbor in 2001, 2002. Actually, I had one ask me about 6 or 8 years ago, can we get another project like this going? Because it really builds our confidence. So in order to continue with what I saw, the confidence built within those youth and whatnot, and the skills built, in order to continue with that, we developed this homes building project, because it's along the same lines, and we still are building, we're still building skills within our youth. We've got somewhere between 5 and 10 people working right now, most of them young people. I've got an apprentice there that started with us 4 years ago, a young lady, and she's within the next couple or 3 months, she's going to become a journeyman carpenter. Our vision is to have all First Nations taking ownership of their own building needs and thriving in affordable, durable, energy efficient, and culturally appropriate living spaces that are built to last 7 generations. Our mission is to share this knowledge in our housing solution so that other First Nation communities can take their housing needs into their own hands. So on the left is a concept of what our buildings look like. On the right, you can see the inside of them and how they're put together. We just provide a shell, and it's kind of up to the client to put the walls wherever you want and arrange your floor plan however you want. We will have a number of suggested floor plans on our website. On the right is it's a picture of an archaeological site. This is a pit home village, probably Sequepic pit home village. There's probably 2,000 years old or more. But each one of these little round depressions in the ground was basically represented a Keek Willie hole, or seed skin as we call them, which was an underground house. And there's one of these sites that's got over 200 holes left there. So it's a traditional way of building. And if you look back within First Nations cultures, a lot of First Nations cultures didn't live in square boxes. You know, all your Plains culture, all your very northern people, and all your people through the interior of BC up and down, and into even down into California and whatnot, lived in round structures, because there's a sacredness to a circle, and we're trying to emulate that here. Our modules can be built to lock up in 12 to 15 days. We have a blueprint for a foundation and a floor, a concrete floor. Once that's built, the rest of it can be erected to lock up, fully insulated lock up in 12 to 15 days. I have a crew that finished up yesterday, putting one to lock up. I think it took them 12 and a half days. Guys had never done this before. We train them on site and show them how to do it. The CMHC Housing Supply Challenge funding has allowed us to test our concepts. We're testing a number of different iterations of this. Partner with other knowledgeable companies. Engage with our clientele, as I'm trying to do right now. Share our knowledge. Access the housing market. We're in the process of certifying our project, and we're looking for net zero certification, and we're also going to go to the Canadian Construction Materials Center and try to get our post and beam framework certified so that it's acceptable across Canada, no matter what the jurisdiction. So we've, part of our CMHC project was to test different foundations and different envelopes, building envelopes. In terms of envelopes, we've stick framed these. We did one with 2x6 walls, and then we put Den's glass and comfort board, etc. to get it fire resistant, because as I told you, we live halfway between Lytton, which lost the whole town about 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, and Shuswap Lake, which lost 40 or 50 houses about last year, I think it was. So we're in the middle, so there's a definite need for fire resistance within housing. Over in the west, I'm pretty sure you've got places here that could possibly use fire resistant housing too. I think I heard somebody talking about the name of their community yesterday, saying it's the place where fire comes through or something like that. So indicates to me that it's not a bad thing to have. We use structurally insulated panels as well. Most of our buildings are built with structurally insulated panels. We normally use EPS, the expanded polystyrene foam, within those panels. It gives us an R24 wall and an R40 ceiling. We're presently trying some with GPS, which is graphite polystyrene. It's black polystyrene, but it increases the R value too. So the walls are R28 and the ceiling is R48 to 50. The other thing we're going to try is we're going to try using a hempcrete skin overlay. So there's a product called hempcrete. It's made out of hemp and concrete. It's relatively light, but it's very fire resistant. We can get it in 2-inch sheets. We're just now trying to figure out how do we lay that over top of our SIPS walls so we get that fire resistance. The different foundations we've tried, we started with raft slabs, which is a pretty standard foundation, probably the cheapest one to do. We've also done a footing in a pony wall. Holy smokes! Excuse me. We've also done a footing in a pony wall. We've done a footing in ICF blocks. We're now trying to put them on screw piles for swampy areas and up north permafrost. And also we're experimenting with what they call a triogetic foundation. In terms of certification, as I said, we're trying to get to net zero. We're working with passive house designers to see what features of that we can bring in. We've also working with a fellow that's done the West Coast Building Standards. And our ultimate goal is to get the BC Step Code 4 or 5, which is a very highly insulated building. Our funding has provided us with the opportunity to train 6 crews this year. We've trained a crew from Kamloops, Kelowna, Haida Gwaii, Williams Lake. We've trained one from Northern Manitoba, and we're also looking for more crews to train. And our motto is to learn to do by doing. So by training these crews will put up the building. We just give them the guidance to do that. We have engineered blueprints, floor plan options for a 600, a 1040, and 1490. Our 1040, which is our standard module, a medium-sized building, we have 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom modules that we've built that work, that would be options. I think I already said we're developing bilingual instruction manual and YouTube instruction videos. Our future aspirations are to connect with educational institutions for future course opportunities. We'd like to develop a micro course and have an issue of micro credentials in post and beam dodeca home building. We'd like to also acquire funding to continue training crews. We started with 6 crews. I believe we've got more crews interested, and we're hoping to interest even more communities in this. We're utilizing whatever data we've collected to provide a better product. We've fine-tuned a lot of our initial products through this process. And we'd like to pass affordable housing options on to our clients and find partners for joint ventures. You know, if you're a building company or you're a housing department, we'd like to partner with you, and we'll provide the post and beam kit. We'll provide the know-how as to where to get the other items you need, and we'll help you teach your people how to erect it. I think that's about it. I'm running out of time here anyway. My contact number is up there, 819-3023. We have a booth outside with more information. And yeah, thank you very much, and thanks to CMHC for sponsoring us so we could do this.